How is again? Beautiful sunshine is back. It's actually warm in here, and I hope you're all keeping well. Except for this itchiness in my eyes from the hay fever, I'm feeling very good. Although I had some very strange dreams last night. Uh, just not they weren't like really nightmares. They were more like dreams. And in one of them, I was told to go to Branson, Missouri. I had to look on the map to see where Branson, Missouri was, and I have heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. And I don't know anybody there. I know nothing about it. So it's so strange that a voice inside a dream told me to go to Branson, Missouri. So that was a funny one anyway. But yeah, that's time will tell, time will reveal. I was just watching President Trump's press conference about opening up America again, and you got to love his positivity and he has that beautiful get up and go, we can do it attitude that we all love about Americans and America. And you can see he genuinely loves the American people. And that's his great crime, that he loves the American people more than he loves the Council on Foreign Relations or the Bilderberger Group. And that's why the mainstream media and the political establishment went to war against him. He didn't sit there surrounded by a bunch of grim bureaucrats echoing statements made by the Council on Foreign Relations, a press release by the Bilderbergs, or a recommendation by the Trilateral Commission. With a celebrity like George Clooney next to him, an idiot like George Clooney trying to present himself off as an intellectual. He sat there talking about it was a business meeting with the head of Toyota Waffle House, and they just presented logical ways to get America to Hilton hotels. Hilton Hotel said basically the rooms will be sterilized. Then they never and good enough. And the hospitality industry represented by Waffle House, very good chain I might add. When I was in the south of America, I was always eating there, and they used to do a burger that was between two pieces of fried bread. It was lovely, but like a grilled cheese sandwich with meat in it, and dirt cheap. So just like in the old days where you had seating and smoking and no smoking seating, they had for the time being, you know, empty spaces and social distancing seating, and then next person. So like every second, like the old-fashioned boots or snugs, and every second's one empty. So that way the restaurants can open, people can go back to their jobs, people can socialize with their friends again, and it will stay like that until this thing has been totally dealt with. This unseen enemy and an invisible enemy. He never calls it COVID-19. He always calls it the invisible enemy. He definitely understands the power of hex naming. The same reason I say 333, or the same reason why I never name people I never name people directly that I don't like. I will make up a nickname for them. And but when you mention their name, you're mentioning, and you have a psychological intensity into that, you're actually empowering them. And this is why these people who constantly call Trump this, Trump that, and all that other things, they're just charging him. And the questions were total. You could tell the media were spooks. The first one asked, "Why are you letting people back without a vaccine?" And the thing is that he had told the World Health Organization he's not going to put mandatory vaccine trials on Americans. Again, he cares more about the American people than he does about the World Health Organization. He's a proper American president, and this is why they hate him. He's not a globalist mouthpiece like the Clintons and Obama and the rest of them, or a neocon like the Bushes, and the Clintons were neocons. The Clintons were the worst about everything. They were neocons and globalists, and in the same thing, and or the Bush families really ran the United States on behalf of the House of Saud in Saudi Arabia. Now, then the next question from another liberal progressive journalist was first that the vaccine that was asked on behalf of Big Pharma or Bill Gates. The next question was sanctuary cities. Like they're more obsessed with the usual bullshit like climate change and the wall than they are with that. You see, look, the whole COVID-19 thing, especially when you see what happened in New Zealand and Australia, who cut down the infection rates enormously. They did that with just immediately shutting down their airports. So the same people who want to take down the wall are complaining about the liberals and the lefties are just demented. You know, they're still asking about climate change when Americans are sitting at home. Now, he also said something that I thought was amazing. Someone asked a question about the U.S. Postal Services. He says they have to raise the price of their packages. And I just thought about this, well, that's a non-issue. But then the more Trump talked about it, I saw the genius of the man kicking in. He said the Postal Service is one of the biggest operations in the United States. And why it's important is it serves small rural communities that like the big shippers like Federal Express and UPS wouldn't go to. So therefore, it's vital it stays open. But secondly, he said they're delivering packages on behalf of Amazon, millions and millions of packages a year. And Amazon are being directly subsidized by the US taxpayer through the Postal Service to do this. And Amazon, he didn't mention Amazon, by the way. That was the beautiful thing about it. Now, remember, Amazon are directly connected to the CIA. Amazon take everything. That's why you should just get off Amazon. I mean, one of my publishers publishes through Amazon, distributes from Amazon, so I have no say over that. I'm just a slave. But like, buy my books off Book Depository or anywhere else. Don't buy them off Amazon. And the thing with Amazon is that they don't pay taxes, and yet they get postal services, not only the United States Postal Service, but On Post here and the British Postal Service, to subsidize their sales because they're able to sell products very cheaply into rural communities. They should be punished for this. And the reason why the best way to punish them is to raise the postal rates. And people say, well, I can't afford now to shop at Amazon anymore. Well, now you should be thinking about shopping at your local rural small town retailer. And Trump even mentioned that they have been hammered. They've been hammered by Amazon, destroyed by them. So he has his raising of the postal rates is not to punish people. It's to make the U.S. Postal Service stronger, but also to punish Amazon, who are being directly subsidized on numerous levels by US taxpayers by these cheaper postal rates, but that the post office loses vast amounts of money on. And he just said, all we expect the best the post office we want from them is to break even. That's what he said, to break even. And so he wasn't nationalising the postal service. He talked about its value to small local rural communities. And it just shows the genius of his mind and why all these lunatics all hate him, because he's not echoing the globalist mandate. And you hear that song "The Blackout" by U2, and Bono's ridiculous lyric like, "Democracy died, we had it all, and it ain't coming back." No, I'm sorry, Bono, but your friends, the Clintons, got into power, and the Bushes got into power by massive corporate donations. Democracy won because Trump won the vote. Okay, and what your friends from the council, dingbats like George Clooney in the Council of Foreign Relations, they're not democracy. They're globalist operations telling individual countries how to manage their affairs, subverting the democratic vote. Democracy won when Brexit was passed and when Trump was elected. And this is so simple. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. You should be glad that the people spoke, that they still gave a shit. Otherwise, you'll have Bill Gates running your country directly, which is what Bono was lamenting. That doesn't happen. Now, cautious optimism is a beautiful thing. I know the new age get a lot of shit for being the whole positive thing. The problem is that positivity is often to hide a darkness. So if they're deeply unhappy, they're saying think positive, think positive, think positive. And that's not healthy. The thing is, when it's dark, and you deal with that. Cautious optimism is what I believe in. That you already envision in your head you at that end point result. So if you want to do something, you want to achieve something, you want to survive something, you project your mind into the future doing things that you want plan to do when you get over this problem. And like Enoch Crane told me himself that like the hell that man went through, operations without anesthetic, I just couldn't imagine that. What he went through, one of the things that got him through that was not only visualizing or thinking about being with his loved ones in the future, but something simple as getting back to his model train layout. Something as simple as getting back to the model trains or and anyone's hobbies. If you project that into the future, and Trump's press conference was full of that. I don't want to, and some press person talked about, so this is the new normal. He says it's not the new normal. The new normal is to go back how things were 3 months ago. Stadiums with people sitting next to each other, restaurants with people sitting next to each other, public transport with people sitting next to each other, not gaps in between. So it's projected the positive, like me, I always project that cautious optimism into the future, because it's otherwise you're greatly affecting your will. Now, if the idea is to take your will and turn your nervous system and your consciousness into a pure blazing stream of energy. And you do that by projecting the outcome into the future. The reason why it's cautious is because there's so many variable factors involved in this, as well as the subatomic field is so the particles are so tightly packed that it's very difficult for us to do these things, like project things, everything from time travel, even though they're all theoretically possible, to bilocationism, to all these things. But the best way around that, it seems to be, which is what magic has always known, is to see yourself already having achieved it. So the whole thing was, remember I said Corona had no shine by April 9. I didn't say Corona will have no shine, or Corona must have no shine, or Corona should have no It was Corona had no shine by April 9. And sure enough, an article appeared just a few days later, like around the 11th, in the Irish Times, where the head of the COVID-19 action team in Ireland said April 9 was a substantial date. It was the date we started to win, because that's when the exponential increases stopped and we went into a decline of infections. Magic works. Like yesterday I told everybody to flood their screen with pictures of the Swedish flag. They did. Now the media today is full of. Now I'm seeing, well, before that, the internet last night was a sea, social media, a sea of Swedish flags and cartoons and pictures of ABBA and the band Europe, and all done with good-natured fun. Everything, that's why I tell the people, this is the good-natured fun. Good-natured fun is much more powerful than positive thinking. This is why they wanted to kill that, take the crack off us, taking the slagging. Like in wars in the past, all the different ethnic groups, the American soldiers would have been all slagging each other's ethnic group off. Oh, you stupid Paddy to the Irish Americans. Oh, you stupid Italian. The black and white guys would have taken the piss out of each other beautifully. But those men would have died to take a bullet for their comrade, because that was all part of the great leveler, the reducing of fears and tensions, things like gallows humor. And so that's what we did last night. And sure enough, this morning, the newspaper articles are full of is Sweden the right way to go? It's complete, but everyone's talking about the Swedish thing where they weren't talking about it before. That was the important thing. It's not proper, and we just did it with laughing, funny pictures of a picture of the group ABBA in tinfoil, with see that girl, watch that scene, she's not in quarantine, and the one that I came up with, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance on herd immunity, and parodying their songs, and. It just, everyone had fun. It was a sea of Swedish flags last night, and now we're reaping the benefits. Now, I'm not saying the Swedish model is perfect, but what the Swedish model puts into people's head is it gives us data. It proved, now the Swedes, yeah, more people died in Sweden, but what did the Swedish experiment the laboratory of Sweden proving all this, that while COVID-19 is indeed a very bad condition, a very dangerous thing, it kills almost no one. It mostly kills people of pre-existing conditions and who are very old, and they can most of them, 9 out of 10 of them are saved as well. So it put that idea into people's head that there's a future there. It was cautious optimism. A future, there's a future. Don't be listed as lies that they're spinning in the media of the new normal. That's a hex they're putting upon you. You see yourself in a couple of months' time on a flight with a beautiful girl you don't know next to you, and you're talking to her, maybe even getting her phone number. Or if you're a woman, a hunky guy, and he's charming and good looking, and the two of you click, and it's love. That's what you project into the future. The things that you would like, that you're cautiously optimistic about, but make it fun. Don't make it desperate. And that's the new normal, is what we used to have, but better. That's why I say it. Better. We're going to be closer together. A friend of mine from school described me last night. We were just joking around, and she's known me since I was about 15, and all through my life since then. And she described me as a teddy bear who carries a knife for protection. And I think that's exactly the perfect, or a Care Bear that carries a knife for protection. And I think that's a very good description of the kind of person I am. I'm caring, I'm loving, I'm approachable, but I'm not a fool, and I do not suffer fools lightly. And so it's like I said, the first indication of gaslighting, you're gone, because the first even hint of gaslighting, you're gone. And because it doesn't mean you're a psychopath. It just means that you cannot be a friend to me, because there's an element of your personality that's trying to be devious and take advantage of me, and that's something I would never do to you. And that's why it's just like, if we're friends, you don't try to fuck me in the back. You don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining, and I'd never do that to you. And I'll always be straight up with you that way. And that's the knife behind that I'm carrying. Otherwise, I'm very, very approachable and loving and friendly and a lot of fun, and that's me. But and I think that's how my mind functions in that way, and I think it's a good way to live. You don't have to be. And I've had a lot of dark shit thrown at me in my life, but it hasn't destroyed my optimism or my faith in people. I still, there's loads of morons and meat golems out there, but there's still loads of great people as well. And like I always said, you seek your tribe, you look for your tribe, and so the cautious optimism thing. And there's another, magic works. We just did it. We just proved it with the Sweden thing yesterday, and chaos in magic works. And the important thing is to stay away from doom mongers. There's always someone who shows up on the thread where everyone's feeling good about something that went good and goes, oh, the mandatory vaccine is next. This kind of thing. Like it's like the fly in the ointment. Yeah, well, I understand there's a caution to everything. The thing is that just because you live that way doesn't mean the rest of us have to live that way. And this is the doom mongers. So what happens if you live in a state of, see, let me tell you about doom porn. There's loads of people in this scene who are having you in a state of doom. Everything is doom porn, okay? Yes, there's bad things happening in the world. Yes, there's bad people doing things and want to do things to you and the people you love. But as soon as you walk into if you normally hear about it, you go, fucking bastards, and then you walk away and do something else. If you constantly regurgitate the doom porn and the worst possible elements of what can go wrong, this is like all the people, the normies who got into doom porn with the COVID-19 things. They were glued to the BBC every night, going, we're finished, we're fucked, we're dead, we're going. So that's because the same receptors in the brain that control excitement are also control terror. So terror and excitement are the same thing. Now, whether you're a normie in a state of terror excitement over the doom porn, mainstream doom porn of COVID-19, or you're a truther in the excitement, terror, neurological state of, say, something like, I don't know, satanic pedophiles, or, um, you know, adrenochrome being sucked out of babies' heads, was just no fucking proof for at all. And that's like a flat air bullshit thing. And I'm not saying that these powerful paedophile networks don't exist. They do. You don't have to turn them into James Bond enemies. They're just dirty, filthy perverts who rape and molest children in networks. That's enough. You don't have to add a supernatural that they sucked adrenochrome out for Baal. That's what's making you, that will make things never be investigated if that's how you approach it. But what happens is, when you do either mainstream doom porn or alternative media doom porn, by affecting these neurological receptors in your brain, these neurobiochemical receptors in your brain, you're decreasing the power of your own nervous system, because your nervous system expands beyond its normal limitations on your body when you are in happiness, when you're in love, when you're having a nice holiday, when you're hanging out with your friends and having a lovely time, when you go to see a band. When they say the expression, it felt electric, that's your nervous system exploding out out of your body. If you are in a doom porn or a very negative, dark mentality, your nervous system reacts like the whole thing of misery loves company. The company for that is illness, often cancers. And what happens is, the nervous system is no longer projecting outside your body. It's actually barely getting up outside your nerves alone, or your spinal column. And this is a good, healthy, functioning nervous system is not only what you need for magic, is also, and charisma especially, it's also what you need to fight lots of diseases. And so you need to keep your nervous system tip top. And the best way of doing that is by not falling into depression and darkness or worry or doom. You can augment that by doing exercise, the chopping wood thing. That's where that metaphor comes from. Or you can take minerals that are very metals and minerals that are very good for the body's electric system: selenium, zinc, magnesium, potassium, and salt. Don't forget, sea salt is very important for the electrical system in your body, because it comes from your heart. Your heart is the power generator of your body. So that's why I always say, keep the song in your heart, because the song in your heart is, imagine your heart being a turbine on a hydroelectric power station. The song in your heart is keeping the turbines flowing, and therefore keeping your heart pumping. Even if your heart is damaged, or you have a heart disease or something, it will still pump enormous amounts of electricity out, regardless of the state of its coronary type elements. So if you've got a heart that may have a coronary disease, this is the thing of keeping a song in your heart. You can still pump tons of electricity out of it. So this is why the cautious optimism thing again, and this is the beauty of this. This is the thing. So, like, I'm not saying be all. You see, I don't see. I'm not saying to you, be all airy fairy, and think, oh, a beautiful world is coming and everything's going to be just wonderful, even though my husband left me and I'm having a nervous breakdown, because that makes you evil. You turn into evil when you become evil when you behave like that. Or you go into doom porn like, oh, the Illuminati are going to kill us all, chemtrails, they're going to suck the adrenochrome out of babies' heads, oh, they eat babies in Hampstead. That happens with that is, it causes you to get disease. It also drives people away from you. That's why these doom porn truther types only ever have other doom porn truther types in their lives, because they're not creating a charismatic field around them, where someone who has a charismatic field draws people to them and say, I like him, I want to be with her. I want to be with her. Yeah, I like the cut of his jib. I love that girl's energy. She's just great fun to be around. And that's what that is. It's a charismatic field that's been charged by your nervous system around you because you haven't bought the doom porn or you haven't been pretending. I'm so positive, everything's wonderful, everything's going to be great. You have cautious optimism. That's what you have. And I'm cautiously optimistic that by the beginning of June, we'll be mostly back to normal. Mostly back to normal. I think flights will resume very quickly. Stadiums will open up. They may have one or two token weeks where they play football or other sports behind closed doors, but I think they will open up full. And I think now it's not just me projected to the recovered state. It's more and more people are feeling that way. And the ones who are saying stay at home, save lives, a lot of them are people who don't have to worry about losing their jobs, like people who work in civil service or bureaucrats or trade union workers who have their job for life anyway. The rest of the people, they chose to be in those careers because they have no ambition anyway. Where the rest of us who didn't end up like that do want to make money, do want to get out there, and do want to see things. There's, I can't wait till I can get back out there and start making films for Beyond 313 again. I just don't have the footage right now. I mean, I have bits and pieces, I think, but I don't have anything real good footage. And by the way, you can support me on Patreon if you want to help me on that below. Even €1 a month, it adds up. And and you have your thing. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm out there traveling, making films for that's my dream, for out there traveling, making films for 313 again. That's how I envision myself now in the future, and you should be doing the same thing. Whatever your passion or desire is, or whatever your heart's desire. Heart's desire is not your dick's desire, your vagina's desire, your heart's desire. It's also the Valpurgis today, so Guten Walpurgisnacht, and this was Saint Valpurga was a Christian's. This is what makes Saint Valpurgis night special, is because all the Christians have stole our pagan holidays from Easter to Christmas to Imbolc to they took nearly all of them. The only one we ever got back was Saint Valpurga's Day. We got her feast day back because it was on the cusp of Beltane, and Beltane, the pagan holiday and festival, was so powerful that it spilled into the day before, passed outside the space-time continuum, and captured Valpurgis, Saint Valpurgis. Although Saint Valpurga was probably a pagan goddess to begin with, I'm almost certain of it anyway. And under the German folk Catholic tradition, which the Lutherans tried to suppress, the witches fly to see the Witch King tonight at midnight. So all you witches polish your brooms and get ready to go and fly and see the Witch King. And then it's light your bonfire, and then it's Beltane. You get up at dawn tomorrow and you collect the morning dew from the leaves of the trees and from the plants, and then you wash yourself in the morning dew of D-E, I call it, pronouncing Irish, Americans call it dew, D-E-W. And you wash your face in the morning dew, and there's some good science done. I'm going to be doing it for another reason. They say it helps hay fever. The morning dew helps hay fever. It's also used in alchemy as well. They build special gossamer nets to collect the Beltane May Day morning dew for alchemical experiments. And isn't it interesting how the communists, the most brutal, murderous dogma that ever walked the face of the earth, chose May Day for their Workers' Day? They tried to kill. Communism and Abrahamic religions that come from the same source. They're the same thing, and they're dogma creators by robbing festivals and co-opting them. And so now it's Guten Walpurgisnacht, and tonight in Irish it will be Shona Beltane. And I have a video on Below Room 313 on 4th of July and Beltane. And it's a very interesting period we're entering into now. It's a period ruled by fire, and there may well be a connection between Baal and Beltane. It may have leaked the name, there may have been a proto-European May Day festival. Because of the Roman Empire, the incorporation of Baal may have made its way into these islands, into Western Europe, and may have led to the term Beltane or Baltane. In fact, there's some rituals in Scotland that are now extinct, but were recorded in the 1700s that may lead well to that. And also St. John's Eve is not too far away as well. And St. John's Eve is celebrated in this part of Ireland particularly. They don't celebrate Halloween here, Samhain, as much as St. John's Eve, which is definitely very connected to the Baal thing of the Romans. Now, people are saying, oh, Baal is this, the babies were eaten. No, Baal was just a pagan god, a fertility god. That's all, like Molech. It was just like the Talmudists gave them a bad name, which is picked up by the Protestant Christians. So we're entering into a powerful season right now, a season of fertility, production, and everything else. So it makes perfect sense that now we're ending the lockdown, and now we're beginning the new growing season of the future, but also of ourselves. You be the harvest of your own desires. Look after yourselves.